So, as you know, I think most everybody knows, the jury's being selected for the trial of Derek Chauvin. He was initially charged with first degree and second degree murder. A judge ultimately tried to prevent, and then I guess it was allowed that he could also be charged with third degree murder. Now, I don't know how. I mean, I presume this was obvious to everyone who was, above the age of, I don't know, 20, 21, maybe 15, that first degree murder is a more serious charge and a harder to prove charge than second degree murder. Second degree murder, not all states, I think, have third degree murder, or call it that. Second degree murder is a more serious charge and harder to prove than third degree murder, right? It's like, if you can prove first degree murder, it's more serious. You don't need to prove second and third degree murder. They become extraneous at that point. But a prosecutor going into a case will sometimes provide multiple charges, try and prove each one of those charges because the threshold is lower in terms of the intent or the forethought or the behavior of the alleged perpetrator. Now, why am I telling you this remedial stuff that most of you already know? Because you watched one crime drama once, or you read one article once, or you just get that by osmosis by being an adult. Well, Dave Rubin, my understanding, is above the age of 30. I mean, I don't know how old Dave Rubin is, but listen to this. He's got a theory that because he read, I know exactly the article he read too. He read this CNN article because I saw him do, well, just play this.
That's the point, that if they had gone for the first degree and second degree, virtually everybody across the political spectrum and all over the world would have said justice was done here if he was convicted of those two things. But now by taking this leap, they're setting us up for further destruction. They're setting us up for further upheaval. But in essence, you're making a great point here that Attorney General Keith Ellison, he's ramping up a charge that sounds like it will be very hard to convict on. So I think he's intentionally going with this high charge, and short of a full conviction, and I think whatever that means, even if there was a full conviction, they would still find a way to go ahead with the violence they have planned, because that's part of the battle right now. It's not just a legal battle, it's a cultural battle.
So let me be clear on what he's saying here, because he had another clip on his own show, like a day before, where he was making the same case, that the third degree charge was brought in because it would be too steep a hill to climb. And therefore, people, once he got convicted of first and second degree murder, according to Dave Rubin, third degree, they wouldn't be able to convict him of, which was a lesser offense. It has a different, instead of like an intent to kill, it's like I believe it's like a reckless disregard in Minnesota state law, reckless disregard for human life, and that they wouldn't be able to prove that. And that's what would be the premise for the rioting. And of course, that is wrong. Here it is the other day. This is what he did the other day.
But in essence, he now is going for a third degree murder charge. And what's happening is you can sort of see that this whole thing is being set up so he's going to get acquitted basically of third degree murder, because third degree murder, without getting too much into all of the specifics, but you should do a little Googling on your own. In essence, third degree murder is like if you drove your car intentionally into a crowd of people to kill a lot of people, or you started firing into a crowd intentionally, just maiming people. First degree and second degree, that's probably what's more applicable in this. But Keith Ellison is throwing that third degree charge in there in a way, in my estimation at least, because he wants riots and he knows that this will make it harder to convict. And thus, when he doesn't get convicted of all of the things, even if he gets convicted of first degree and second degree murder, which probably will happen, if he doesn't get convicted of third degree, that will be the excuse for the violence. And it is my belief at this point that the progressive wing of the Democratic Party wants violence. They want there to be mayhem. Those are their foot soldiers.
Yes, Keith Ellison. He coincidentally the black attorney general. He's just stoking
Muslim too.
But he wants violence.
Yeah,
obviously.
It's so dumb.
No,
in
he
my
thinks.
defense,
Can we just focus on what's going on? Like,
Yes.
And there's a CNN piece. If you Google it, you'll find the CNN piece he read because that's where the example comes from that he gives, right?
I thought he was
gives both-
Googling first degree burn.
He
I think
just
he's
looked
just
and he stopped
Right, that's
reading.
what he thinks it is.
Yes. He
no, but
doesn't
third degree
understand. But
third degree
first-degree
burns are worse.
Yes.
Right, that's
what
what
I'm
he
saying.
thinks it is.
He thinks it's reverse.
Yeah, he
Right.
thinks a third-degree murder is the worst because it
Yeah,
builds
well-
on each other, like burns, like Nomi said.
I was actually thinking about black belts, and is it not true that a third degree black belt is harder to get than a first degree one? I rest my case.
First grade, then second
what's
grade,
also
then
awesome
third
is-
grade.
So this guy, he did the second video he did, I think at least a day before he appeared on whatever Newsmax or OWN or whatever that was. So there's nobody, either none of his fans were like, hey, Dave, just a heads up, you got it backwards, man. It's backwards. Your whole theory is half baked. Or he doesn't pay attention on his locals. This is so you can contact me, pay $500, you can contact me. Or just no one around him either pays attention to what he says or is smart enough to realize, like, hey, wait a second, man. No, you got it backwards. Your whole theory is completely wrong because you have it completely backwards. Nobody told him.
Yeah.
Nobody told him in 24 hours. And he must not check Twitter because people are laughing at him for days.
Well, the Democrats aren't going to be happy until there's a 4th-degree murder, then a 5th-degree murder, then a 6th-degree murder.
Just gonna keep laying them on numbers after numbers.
The radical Democrats want 10 degrees of murder.
And violence on the streets. What I don't understand is, like, aren't they all supposed to get the same talking points? Why is it Dave Rubin is always left off the list?
Because he's not in the club. No one wants to hang out with this dude who's not, like, we've said this all the time. He wants so badly to be buddies with Ben Shapiro, but Ben Shapiro is pretty, like, icked out that he's a man that sleeps with another man.
Oh, and I would imagine too that it's like when he's like, "Can I get some talking points?" Glenn Beck's like, "It doesn't matter what you say. Just go."
Also,
Get the
like,
ratings.
I wonder how that dynamic is, because I think how do you think Dave actually feels about Glenn Beck?
Oh, I think that Dave is. I don't know. I don't know him personally. But all I
Yeah.
can imagine is just like, great guy, very good businessman.
Right. Well, yeah, he's a yeah, okay.
Did he used to film in his studio? Do you remember when Glenn Beck had those studios and all these other hosts would film, like Tommy
No, I don't
Lahren?
think so.
And
No.
No, because Rubin, he hasn't left LA, right?
He's been in LA the whole time.
Yeah, Rubin
All right.
tries to get in. His key card doesn't work, though.